Welcome back, DC. We'll just wait for the others, okay? Hello, everyone. We're just accepting our participants. Okay. How are you, Bavik?
Good, Miss May. How are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Okay. So, hi, Chandra. How are you?
I'm good, May. How are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Hi, Jason. How are you?
Hi, Miss. I'm good, thank you.
All right. Beautiful. So hopefully more people will join us this evening. And today we are going to talk more about grammar. And I'm going to share with you other ways of expressing opposite ideas, opposing ideas. Still using complex sentence structure. I think last week Chandra asked me this question like, okay, so what other words can I use instead of although and things like that. So that's what we're going to have a look at. And there will be some grammatical structures that you're going to learn this evening. And as usual, we're going to do a lot of practice activity writing sentences. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. So last week, we learned the use of although. Who can tell Miss May what it means? What is although used for? Anyone? Any?
Kind of like
For contrasting,
Yeah. So we use although. And although is what we use for complex sentence structure. Is that correct?
yes.
Yeah.
Passive voice.
Yeah. So we use although for complex sentence structure. And the purpose of although is to show opposite ideas or contrast, correct? Okay.
Yep.
So now we know how to use although. And so if you want to use another alternative for although, you can just easily use even though. So although and even though are synonymous and they have the same function. Okay, so when we're using although or even though, we can use them interchangeably. So if, for example, your previous sentence is using although, don't start another sentence with although. You can start using even though. And so the structure of although is it has to be followed by a sentence, which is subject plus verb plus object. Okay. So when you are creating a sentence with although or even though, it has to be followed by subject plus a verb or plus an object. Okay. For example, although the number of vaccinated people are increasing, every day, the number of COVID cases are not decreasing. Okay. So if we are going to analyze this sentence, although the number of vaccinated people are increasing every day, so we can see here that the number of vaccinated people is the subject,
Subject.
are increasing
Verb.
Object.
is the verb,
Verb.
because
Yeah,
it's the
increasing.
action. It's the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
doing
it's
the
a verb.
action.
Action. Yeah.
Mhm. And every day is the object.
Object. Yeah.
Yes, object. So when we are creating although or even though, it has to be followed by a subject, a verb, and an object. Now, that is not the main purpose of our lesson today. The main purpose of our lesson is to learn despite and in spite of. This is what I will focus my discussion this evening, because we have done although for the past 2 weeks, and I'm hoping that you already know how to do this. But if you want to use another word for although, you can just use even though. Even though the number of vaccinated people are increasing every day, the number of COVID cases are not decreasing. So they are exactly the same way you can use. But remember, guys, even though is 2 words, not 1 word, because I'm seeing some grammatical mistakes there using even though as 1 word. Now, why do we need to know the word of despite of and in spite of? Is because you want to have variety when you're writing your sentences. So how do we use despite? Okay, good question. So despite, just like although, is also used for a complex sentence structure. And also, just like your although, it also means opposite views, opposite ideas, or opposing views. However, when you are writing a structure with despite, the despite has to be followed by a noun. Okay. Despite has to be followed by a noun or a noun phrase. So when you are creating the sentence, for example, okay, here, despite, okay, so here, when you are following your sentence, you have to make sure that despite is followed by a noun, okay? So here,
Despite a number of people being vaccinated.
okay. So what is the difference between the increasing here and the increasing here? Can anybody tell me? Anybody?
Noun phrase.
Yes. So this one is a noun phrase because the increasing here is a gerund. Do you guys remember what is a gerund? No? No idea?
Using for past noun.
ING.
Yeah. So gerund is, we are using verb plus ing, and it function as a
Noun.
noun. Yes. So the word increasing here is not a verb, but a gerund, which makes it a noun. Is that clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just like this one. For example, let's say Miss May is swimming. Swimming is Miss May's favorite sport. What is swimming on the first sentence?
Verb.
It's a
Verb.
verb. Yes. What is swimming on the second sentence?
It's a noun.
No.
It's a noun. Okay. So swimming is the action of swimming. And the second one is swimming as the name of the sport. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this sentence, despite increasing number of vaccinated people, increasing number of vaccinated people, is that a verb or a noun?
Noun.
A noun. Increasing number of vaccinated people is a noun phrase. So now we can use despite for this sentence, okay? So despite increasing number of vaccinated people, the number of COVID cases are not decreasing. Is that clear so far? So when you are using despite, you are following it with a noun or a noun phrase. Clear so far?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's start in spite of. What about in spite of? You will say, Miss May, what about in spite of? These are three words separate, not together. Okay. So in spite of is also the same. It is also used in complex sentence structure. And it's also used to signify opposite ideas. However, the rule for using spite of is in spite of has to be followed by adjective. What is adjective? Anybody can tell Miss May what adjective is?
Adjective modifies the noun.
Yeah, so
Like a
adjective
complement.
is describing
Describing.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah, describing words. Okay, so describing words. Okay, so when we are using in spite of, it is followed by adjective. Okay, so here, if we're going to use this expression again, we are supposed to say, in spite of the high number of vaccinated people. So high is
Adjective.
Adjective.
Yeah. Number of vaccinated people is your noun. So these become adjectival phrase. So adjective plus noun is adjectival phrase. Okay. So that is how you can use in spite, despite, and although and even though properly. Do we have questions so far?
No.
Do you like English grammar? Okay, so let's
That's
have
a good question.
yeah. So but if you do it perfectly and if you write it properly, you are showing your examiner or your computer that you have a high level of sophisticated grammar structure because you know how to use it in different ways properly. Okay, so let's have a little bit of practice here. So I have here one sentence, and I'm going to put it up here. Okay, so although the price of fuel increased last month, the price of basic food is still the same. So if we are going to transfer this using despite, okay, so we have here increased price of fuel. So we might say that despite the increase in the price of fuel last month, the price of basic food is still the same. So you can see the description, the price of fuel increased, and this one is the increase in the price of fuel. Can you see the difference? Yeah? Okay. Now, let's try this one. The second one, I just want you to start it with the despite. Although they did not have any funds, they did not stop the research. So let's try despite there. Okay, try to arrange this sentence or reword this sentence using despite in the chat box, everyone. Despite first. How are you going to rewrite this sentence if you are using despite? You can use synonymous words. For example, not have in any funds. So you can use other synonym there. Let's give it a try.
Sorry, Miss May, because I was late and I lost some. Despite and in spite of is
Yeah.
synonym. Yeah,
Yes.
is two word synonym, and I can use both in the same occasion. Yeah.
Yes. So they are synonym. You can use them both to mean opposite ideas, but there are rules when you write them. So when you are writing despite, the despite has to be followed by a noun phrase. And when you are writing in spite, it has to be followed by adjective plus noun. So to write them, they have different ways of writing them, but the meaning of them is the same.
Okay. Just is the rule to follow.
Yes, so there's a
Okay.
rule to follow. Yeah.
Okay. Despite. Okay. Can you go down? I take a photo and I have.
Yeah. I'll hear one.
Sorry, because
That's
I was
okay.
cooking and I lost my
That's okay.
time. Okay.
Despite the funds not being available, the research is still ongoing. Yes, that's correct. Or maybe rather than saying not being available, maybe you want to say despite the lack of funds. Yeah. Or
Yeah, that would be a
it's
better
like
way.
the unavailability of funds. Despite the unavailability of funds. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but this is a correct structure. Okay, let's wait for the others to come up with their sentences. Now you can try your in spite of sentence, Bhavik. Give it a try.
Yeah, I'll try.
Yep. Give it a try. Despite the running out of funds. Rosit, I probably wouldn't want you to use the word running out because that is not academic. And that
Okay
is
then.
also, yeah, running out means to say, and that is also, what do you call this? Idiomatic expression. So don't use it.
Oh yes then. Thank you, Miss May.
No worries. So try to use a more academic word.
So May, we
Yes.
using our own words, so we have to pick from yours, although they did not have any funds.
Yeah, so you have to, well, you have to rewrite the sentence using despite, but you have to think of a proper word to use because you need a noun. You need a noun after that. So not having any funds is not a noun, right? So you have to think of a word that would fit there in your sentence, but it has to mean the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Despite the fund not available, the research is still ongoing. Okay. In spite of lacking fund, they did not stop the research. In spite of lacking, is lacking an adjective? I have to check that. Shalu.
Oh, okay. Maybe a verb, something like that. Maybe can I do this in spite of having no funds?
In spite of having no funds, then having is a verb too.
Ah, okay.
You have to think of an adjective. Oh, yes,
Okay.
lacking is an adjective. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct then.
Okay. Thank you.
Leda, we have to use this sentence. You don't have to write your own sentence, Leda. We have to use this one.
One second. Yeah, I know. This is no academic, but just for okay.
Yeah. Despite the government had declared lack on different share. Jason, we are using we are using this sentence. We are not using your own sentence.
Uh-huh.
Jason, is that clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We are trying to use in spite of and despite of in this sentence. We're translating this sentence. Yeah.
Okay.
Despite the funding is not enough, the research is still ongoing. Yasmin, the sentence is quite difficult to understand. So would you like to paraphrase that?
Yeah, it means funding is not enough, but still research is ongoing.
I know what it means, but it's just doesn't, it's not good to listen to it. You know what I mean? So you need to paraphrase it. Maybe use different word. I don't know. Maybe lack of funding, insufficient funding,
Okay.
rather than not enough. You don't have to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have to use a word. You have to use a noun. Insufficient is an adjective, I think. Insufficient is an adjective, I think. Yeah, it's an adjective, so you can't use that. Despite lack of funds, yes. Lack of funds. The research is still ongoing. Correct. Despite the funds are not available. Again, try not to use not in your sentence. Still, despite the lack of funds, despite the funds are not available, despite short funds, no, short is an adjective, so it has to be in spite. And we don't say short funds.
Okay.
Yeah, we say lack of funds, insufficient funds. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but it has to be followed by a noun, right? Despite despite the not enough funds, enough is an adjective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we need a noun.
How about no more?
No, it's an adjective.
Adjective.
Yeah, you need to have a noun.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to think of a word that means not enough, not have, but a noun. So what are some of the words that means like that? So despite the lack of funds, they did not stop the research. You only have to worry about the first one. Is there any other word means did not have aside from lack? Any person can find me a word that is related to lack? Lack? They did not, despite they did not. Yes, DC, but that is grammatically incorrect. Okay, lack, yeah. Any other words?
Shortage,
Shortage is a noun, yes. Yeah, so we can,
deficit,
deficit is a noun. Despite the deficit in funds, they did not stop the research. The problem is you guys are trying to use the same words, which doesn't fit. You have to think of another word that would fit in the context with the same meaning. Okay, so Uyanga, this is not correct because when we use in spite, we use adjective. But lack is a noun, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. So despite the funds not available, okay, they did not stop the research. Okay, everybody, despite missing funds. No, missing funds is totally not the same meaning. It means there is a fund, but then it's just missing. It's not the same thing as lack of funds.
Lack is okay.
I think insufficient, Carol, is adjective, isn't it?
Sufficient.
Can you check that for me? I think that's an adjective.
I checked.
it's an adjective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an adjective. So it has to be a noun.
Okay.
What about insufficiency? That's a noun. Carol, that's what you should do. Despite insufficiency of funds.
Okay.
Insufficiency is a noun, but insufficient is an adjective. So you have to use insufficient for in spite.
Okay.
Yeah. In spite, insufficient funds. Yes. But despite should be a noun. So despite insufficiency of funds. You got it now? Okay. Is limited a noun? Limited. I think limited is a noun. Let's see. I have to double check. Limited. Limited is an adjective. Kaya nga. You cannot use that. In spite of being short in fund availability. Short in fund availability. Of being. Being is a verb, Bhavik.
Okay.
Take the being. In spite of short, or maybe instead of short, maybe what you want to say is
Scarcity.
scarcity is noun. Scarcity is noun. Scarce. Wait, let me have a look. Scarcity is noun, I think.
Yeah, it's a noun.
Yeah. It should be scarce. So in spite of scarce funding, scarce is in spite of scarce funding, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Okay.
In spite of being absence of fund. No, being is a verb, Chandra. Maybe what you want to say, Chandra, is, and this is not in spite, it should be despite. In spite the absence of funds. That's correct.
In spite of absence of
No,
funds.
despite, because absence is the noun.
Despite. Okay.
Yeah.
So instead
In
of
spite,
so I put despite absence of funds. Okay.
Yeah, despite the absence of funds.
They're still ongoing for research. Is it fine?
No, you can copy the entire back. They did not stop the research. You don't have to change that. You just have to change the first part.
Okay.
Yeah. Despite the shortage of funds, they did not stop the research. Yeah, in spite of scarce funding, research is still going to continue. Good. In spite of insufficient fund, they did not stop the research. Yes. Despite the absence of funds. Yeah, good. Well done, guys. You're getting it. A little bit more practice. I think you should
What
be
if we
fine.
choose limited instead of scarce funding?
So despite limited funding, yeah.
In spite of limited funding.
Yeah, in spite of limited funding. Yeah, that's fine. Despite the deficit in funds, yeah, they did not stop the research. Good. Despite the cold weather, we don't give up on fishing. Good. But Richie, we are not using this sentence. We are trying to change this sentence that's I gave. In spite of insufficient funds, research never stopped. Yeah. Okay, good. Next practice. Although they have reduced the price, the quality has not been affected. This is the next one. Although they have reduced the price, the quality has not been affected. In spite of, oh, sorry, Manjot, we are not creating your own sentence. We're just trying to translate the although sentence to despite sentence or in spite sentence.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right. Also, your sentence, Manjot, is incorrect because when you're using the word in spite of, it has to be followed by adjective plus noun.
Okay.
Yeah, increasing number of COVID cases is it's noun phrase here. So it should be despite increasing number of COVID cases.
I don't know. I'm confused when I have to use despite.
So despite, it has to be
Now.
followed by a noun. Yes, Leda, despite has to be followed by a noun.
And in spite is followed by what?
By adjective.
Okay.
Despite the slashed price. Slashed, is that a noun? Slashed.
Same as reduced.
It's an adjective.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, reduce is an adjective. So if you want reduce to be a noun, it has to be reduction. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so be careful. It has to be followed by a noun. Okay. But we don't say this despite the price down. Carol, maybe you want to say despite the price decrease. So this has to be a noun.
Okay.
It's not the price. It should not be the price. It should be
Reducing.
No, reduction.
Reduction.
Because reducing is a verb.
Okay.
Yeah. Nushad, in spite is followed by an adjective. So your sentence is, it has to be despite, not in spite. So despite the reduction. Yeah?
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Despite the decreasing prices. Despite the decreasing prices. So is that decreasing prices? That is a gerund. Okay. Spite of the most people are vaccinated, the number of cases are not increasing yet. Okay, Muhammad. So in spite of the most here is not, it's not an adjective. It is the purpose of most here is despite of the most people, despite, in spite of the most people. No, most here is not as an adjective, but it's a let me check that first because I'm not convinced with that. Most. This is yeah. So here it's not adjective but adverb. So it's not correct there, Muhammad.
Okay.
Yeah. So you think of an adjective.
So Miss May, this time we're doing adjective or noun?
Sorry?
Still we have to choose the noun, right?
So when do you use the noun?
When we use despite?
Correct. Yeah.
In spite.
So,
Despite or in spite? No.
Okay. So let's go back. So when you are using in spite, what is the rule?
When you use in spite, that's adjective. Oh, okay. Plus
Okay.
noun.
Yeah. So when you are using despite, it is
Noun.
Yeah,
only.
or noun phrase.
Or noun phrase.
Yeah. So if you are using
depends on which I am using, right? Depends on which one I'm choosing, despite or in spite. If I'm choosing a despite, it's supposed to be noun.
Correct.
In spite, okay, just okay, no problem.
Yeah. And we're trying to use in spite of and despite in this sentence that I've given on the
Okay, okay.
In spite of drop prices, we don't use that collocation, Manjot. Be careful. Despite the fact the prices have been lowered, yeah, the quality of the product has not changed. Yeah, that's correct. But be careful with the use of despite the fact, Leda, because despite the fact is a collocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was dubious about that, but if I don't put the fact,
then you have to put a noun that means
the
low
prices,
price.
the price.
Despite the price have been lowered, it shouldn't be the price. It should be the lower.
Okay, lower.
Yeah. So it's not the lower, but it should be this. The word, this one has to be a noun. Despite the drop in price. Yeah. Despite the price reduction. Yes, that's correct. Despite the price lower. No, Jasmine, you don't do that.
Okay.
In spite of diminished prices. Yes. You have to think of a word that means low price, but it's a noun, and that will make sense in your sentence. So the noun that you're using is not the price. It's the action of how the price change. Chandra, less is an adjective.
Oh, okay.
Yes, despite the reduction of price. Despite the diminishing of the price. Diminishing is a verb. Despite the diminishing of the price. Yes, that's correct. That's a noun phrase. Geran. In spite of reduced the price. No. Reduced. In spite of reduced. Is that an adjective, Carol? Did you check?
It is adjective, but I'm not sure.
But in this sentence, it could be past tense. Yeah.
I changed it.
Change that. Because it could be a verb. That is a verb in that format. Despite the less in price. In spite the less in price. We don't say that, Chandra. We don't say the less in price. In spite the less in price. In spite the low cost. Yes, that's correct. Despite the diminishing of price. Diminishing here is a gerund, Jason. It's not an adjective.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Diminishing.
Oh, so I say instead of diminish of price, instead of ing.
Diminished. Yes, that is possible.
Yeah, instead of
Diminished
diminish of price,
price.
the quality is still retained.
Yeah, diminished is an adjective. Correct. Despite the decline in price. Yes, decline could be a noun there. Correct. All right. Despite the decline in the price. Yes, correct. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's keep going. Let's practice. Practice some more. Complete the sentence below. Number 1. Despite the lockdown. Please complete that. Plus noun phrase. Lessened? Lessened? I don't think so, Rosit.
Oh, okay then.
It's a verb. Lesson is a verb.
Got it.
Mm.
Minimize it. Oh my God.
Yeah, COVID cases are continuously increasing. Good, because COVID cases are noun phrase. Correct. Keep going. And just copy your sentences here. Despite the lockdown, there are protests. There are protests in CVD. But there are not a noun. Bhavik. There is a
Yeah.
pronoun. Just change it to a noun. Online shopping is increasing. Yeah, online shopping is increasing. That's correct. Good. People are getting mad. How is that opposite, Chandra? You're showing cause and effect here. It's not opposite. Chandra?
Oh, yes, sorry, Meg.
Yeah, so despite the lockdown, people are getting angry, getting mad. That is a cause and effect sentence. We don't use despite for cause and effect sentence. We only use despite for opposite ideas. Please fix that.
Okay.
Question 2, for those of you who are finished, despite the government support. Okay. Fix this problem. Despite the lockdown, the real estate purchases are booming. Purchases is plural, Bhavik. Fix the grammar.
Oh yeah.
Despite the lockdown, people are still outing. Chandra, you want to fix that? People are still going out, not outing.
Okay.
People are still going out. Despite the lockdown, residents are not allowed to go out. No, Carol, that is not opposing. They are similar, actually.
Okay.
It has to be opposing. Please fix that. Despite the lockdown, the library is still working. Yes, or open. The library is still open. Despite the lockdown, the cases are growing every day. Well done. Despite the lockdown, students, what does that mean? Where? W-E-R? Yasmin, I think.
Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. Were affected. Was affected.
Despite the lockdowns, well, that is not opposing. That is cause and effect.
Okay.
Give me a give me an opposing idea, please. Despite the lockdown, the cases are growing every day. Yes, correct. Did I miss anyone? Despite the lockdown. Okay. Despite the lockdown, some restaurants are shifting towards takeaway to prevent their business from closing down. Good. Jason is the only one who's given me academic sentence. Everybody's just trying to make short sentences. Despite the lockdown, people are still going out. Yes, this is correct. Despite the lockdown, real estate inspections are not available. That is not opposite, Richie. That is cause and effect. I want opposing views. Please fix that.
Okay, teacher.
Worries. Despite the lockdown, the fruit and vegetable shops are always open. Yes, this is correct. Just be careful with your... Okay. Despite the government support, businesses are closing down. Correct. Well done. Despite the government support, businesses would be struggling to open up in the near future. Correct. Well done. Despite the government support, workers are protects for to work. What does that mean, Chandra?
I'm just trying to say people are still protesting to start going for a work. They don't want to get government money. They want to work.
Maybe you need to paraphrase it so that I can understand the sentence better.
Okay, you mean give more information?
No, because I totally don't understand the sentence. So maybe use a different word that would it make clear for me to understand what you mean?
Okay.
Because workers are protects for to work. What does that mean?
I don't know what the word. Not products. I was trying to say, the champagne or
Did you mean protest?
protest? Yeah.
Okay, so are protesting. Workers
Yeah,
are
yeah.
protesting to go to work. Okay, can you please fix that?
Yeah.
All right, good. So for those of you who are doing second sentence, please keep going. And this is the third
Sorry, Miss May.
sentence. Yes,
Which is the
Leda?
second? Sorry, which is the second?
This one, despite the government support.
Despite the government support.
Yeah, that's the second sentence. First one is despite the lockdown. My neighbors are still hanging out for a party. Yes, that's correct.
Miss May, you were saying protest. Workers
Are protesting.
to go to work.
Yeah, to go to work. Despite the government support, people are still upset. Yes, correct, DC. Good job. Thanks, DC, for participating.
Thank you, Miss May.
No worries. Despite the government support, workers are protesting to go to work. Yes, that's correct, Chandra. Thank you for fixing it.
Yes, Leda, I'm here.
Dizzy is here. It's her first week here, so we should
Yeah.
welcome her.
Good job, Dizzy. You're welcome. In this lesson, it's very hard to enjoy.
Okay, good. Despite the lockdown, the real estate agencies are still open for inspection by appointment. Yes, Richie, this is correct. Well done.
Thank you, teacher.
Oh, you guys are getting better in your sentences. Despite the government support, people are struggling to pay their bills. Yes, this is correct. Shalu, good job. A little bit more academic there, Shalu. You're getting there.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little bit more push. Okay, number 3 is despite the poverty. Now it's our third sentence. Despite the poverty.
Miss May, what poverty mean?
Poverty is being poor.
Being
Like, you know,
poor.
yeah, there are some people in some countries that are really poor. Yeah.
Poverty is
Okay,
fukarin.
thank you.
Here is fukarin.
We're poor. We're poor countries. They're poor people.
I have my translated letter.
Good on you.
She translated me in Albania. Thank you, Leda.
You'll be fine. Despite the government support, one of my neighbors are still whinging about the lack. Okay, so despite the government support, one of my neighbors is, because it's just one of my neighbors is still whinging about the lack of money, not the lacking, about the lack of money. Okay, one of my neighbors is. Despite the government support, people are still facing economic problems. Well done, Carol. Good on you. Beautiful sentences you guys have now. Despite the poverty, people are still enjoying themselves. Yes, good job, Nushad. Nushad is getting faster and faster every day. Well done. I hope you are using these expressions in the office, Nushad. Despite the poverty, some people blame for crime. That is cause and effect, Chandra. It has to be opposite, not cause and effect. Despite the government support, one of my neighbors still whinging about the lack of money. Yes, spelling of money. Okay. Money. Yeah. Okay. Despite the government support, the small businesses are still struggling with the rental fees. Okay. Are still struggling with the rental fee. Rental. This is American English spelling. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Despite the poverty, the real estate prices for land are skyrocketing in urban spaces. Yeah. Despite the government support, many people are struggling economically. Yes, that's right. Despite the poverty, population in many underdeveloped countries are increasing. Very good sentence here, Shalu. Good on you. This is the kind of sentence that I want from you. Keep it up. Despite the poverty, people build rockets more than ever. Are you talking about Elon Musk, Koyanga? Yes. This is true. Despite the government support, the small business are still struggling with the rental fees. Well done, Richie. Good. Good. Okay. This is our third sentence. Well done, everybody. Despite the government support, the unemployment rate around the country has increased with D, Jason, as many businesses are shut down due to restrictions. Not shut off, shut down. And unemployment rate has increased. Present perfect tense, yeah?
Oh, okay, so has increased with the ED, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah,
Remember, if there is a has or have, the second word should be past participle. which is always.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Despite
Okay.
the poverty, the people finding the way. People, so despite the poverty, the people are finding the way to be happy. Yes. That's true. Despite the poverty, the people are. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Now, everybody, let's go to our in spite exercise. Despite the poverty, people are still not worrying about their living conditions. Yes, correct, Carol? Good. So let's try in spite. Number one for in spite is in spite of the financial assistance. Okay. Let's try a sentence in spite of the financial assistance. It has to be followed by an adjective plus noun. Adjective plus noun. Sorry, financial assistance is adjective plus noun. So finish this sentence up. Despite the poverty, politicians apostrophe salary has increased, and this caused a massive outrage among the citizens. Okay, so the politicians has got to have an apostrophe because it is a possessive.
Okay, Miss Mo, sure.
So it has to be politicians.
With the apostrophe S.
Yes, correct, possessive.
Alright.
Despite the poverty, the economic increase to develop. Chandra, what does that mean?
Just trying to say, because of this, the economy could get like, they hire all the food and vegetables, increasing the price of the product.
If you increase the price of the product, the people will become more poor. They can't afford it.
But we have to think opposite way, right?
Sorry?
So we have to think opposite way, right?
Yes, but that is, you're not thinking opposite. You're thinking cause and effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So cause and effect is different. It has to be opposite. Cause and effect is different.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems to me you don't know the difference between cause and effect and the opposite.
So if I say like because of the that despite the property,
yeah,
the poor people can getting hard to buy food, something like that.
No, that's an effect because they're poor, they can't buy food. But if you say, despite the poverty, the people are still happy, then yeah, I'm poor, but I'm happy.
Okay.
That's the opposite. But if you say, despite the poverty, people can't buy food, that's not opposite. That's the cause. The cause of my poverty, the effect is I can't buy food. That's cause and effect.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Okay. Despite the poverty, some businesses are growing every day. Yes. That's correct. Some businesses, not same, Neda, some.
Yeah. Some?
Yeah.
I put I. Okay.
Yeah, some. Just be careful with your spelling, but it changed the meaning of the word.
Thank you.
No worries. In spite of the financial assistance, some people are still complaining that the funds they have received are inadequate. Yeah, good. Well done. In spite of financial assistance, people are still struggling to survive. Correct. Well done. In spite of the financial assistance, we can't pay the bill. Correct. When you are writing this kind of sentences, DC, you cannot contract. It should be we cannot. Okay, you cannot make it short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In spite of the financial assistance, some businesses are still struggling to survive. Yeah, I think Yeah. Okay, let's do our number 2 sentence. In spite of the high unemployment rate. Okay, finish this up. Despite the poverty, people can't live. No, Chandra, this is still cause and effect. So poverty is a bad situation. So think of a positive situation. So poverty is bad. So think of an opposite that is good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Come on, everybody. Ten more minutes. In spite of the high unemployment rate, the number of jobs available on contracts are increasing each day. Yes. In spite of the financial assistance, lots of restaurants are still closed. Closed? Yasmin, is it closed?
Oh, sorry, declosed. Yeah.
Are still closed. Paste. T. Okay. In spite of high unemployment rate and number. Okay. In spite of the financial assistance, there are some individuals, and this lead to increase in lifeline call. I don't think that is quite, it's quite far, the relationship. Jason?
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit off topic.
Okay.
Despite the poverty, Salvation Army organizations are helping people to get financial assistance. Yes. So are helping people. Chandra?
Oh yeah, updates. Yeah. Okay.
In spite of financial assistance, some people are still complaining about their living. Richie, maybe you want to say about their life rather than about their living? In spite of high unemployment rate, job seekers are having trouble getting a job. Job seekers are still... this is cause and effect, Nushad. Not opposite. Despite the poverty, Salvation Army are helping people to get financial assistance. Yes, this is correct. Are you getting the difference now?
Yes, because you explained to me this is poor, so what we can get better.
Yeah. So if poor is a negative situation, so think of something positive.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, May.
No worries. In spite of the financial assistance, some people are still complaining about their life. Yeah, correct. Well done. Good. Okay. In spite of financial assistance, not assistant, Rosit, assistance. Some people are finding hard to life. Some people are finding it hard to live in modern cities with high rate of expenses. Can you fix that for me, please? Finding it hard to live in modern cities with high rate of expenses. In spite of the financial assistance, a large of the shops cannot afford the expenses. What do you mean a large of the shop? Did you mean a large number of the shops, Lela? Did you miss the word number?
Yeah, number. A large
of
number. Yeah.
A large number of the shops. Okay.
Yeah, I see now. Okay.
Large number of the shops. A large number of the shops. A large number. Number is missing here. of the shops. Good.
Yeah.
In spite of the financial assistance, there are some individuals lining up in front of the food bank complex to get food. Yes, this is correct. So it means it's not still not enough. In spite of financial assistance, some people are finding it hard to live in modern city with high rate of expenses. Yes, I will accept this and just edit it a little bit. In spite of financial assistance, some people are finding it hard to live in modern cities with high rate of expenses. Yeah, good. Okay, number 2 question is, what is it? In spite of high unemployment rate, yeah. And the third question would be, in spite of the large number of volunteers. There you go. That's our number 3 question. Okay, couple more minutes, everybody. We'll wrap it up soon. 8 more minutes.
Sorry, Miss May.
Yes.
I have a question for the second sentence because I don't understand the meaning. Height employment rate.
Yeah.
Rate.
Yeah. It means that the percentage of people who doesn't have a job is very high.
Sorry, can you repeat for me again because my internet is
okay. So it means that the percentage of people who doesn't have a job is very high. So many people have no job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understand. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, keep going, everyone. 10 more minutes and we'll wrap up. Despite of financial assistance, some people still wants to go to work. Still want, no S, Chandra. Still want. Some people still want. Yeah, this is correct. Good. You're slowly getting it. Well done. So remember, people is plural, so the verb has to be plural as well. In spite of high unemployment rate, a lot of places are still hiring people. Yeah. Despite of the large number of volunteers, organizations still think the help that they provide to the people is not enough. What does that mean? I think it's a little bit off topic there. In spite of large number of volunteers, did you want to just make that a little bit more straight to the point and say, in spite of the large number of volunteers, there's still a lot of things to do, something like that. But I think you're going off, like going around. Can you make it a little bit more clearer there, Bavik?
Yeah.
Thank you. In spite of the high unemployment rate, some people enjoy their life. Yeah, that's possible. They don't care. Yeah. In spite of the high unemployment rate, fresh graduate students from famous universities um are not hard to find the jobs. Maybe Rosit, you need to change it. Some from famous universities are not struggling to find the jobs. In spite the high unemployment rate, job seeking website keep advertising various types of jobs that are available. Yes, correct. Good. In spite of the large number of volunteers, rescue team are struggling to cope with the high volume of calls. Yes, with high volume of calls. Yeah, correct. With S, the calls. Calls. In spite of financial assistance, many people are struggling financially. Yes, that's correct. Many people are struggling. Beautiful. In spite of in spite of high unemployment rates, some people are getting government funds. Some the high unemployment rate. Some people, that is also cause and effect. In spite of high unemployment rate, the government jobs are still open. So are still looking. Shallow, no more open. Are still looking for qualified persons.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just use that. Copy. Are still looking for. Yeah. Looking for. Okay. In spite of high unemployment rate, fresh graduate students from famous universities are not struggling to find the jobs. Yes, correct.
Should we say that's the spirit?
In spite of large numbers of volunteers, sorry? In spite of the large number of volunteers, organizations cannot cope with the ever-increasing demand. Yes, this is much better. Well done, Bavik.
Thank you.
This is the kind of sentences you want because you need high score. In spite of large number of volunteers, the operations volume are in an all-time high as job tasks keep increasing rapidly. Well done, Jason. Beautiful sentence there. Good on you. In spite of high unemployment rate, the medical jobs are still on demand. Yes, well done, Yasmin. Good job. Okay. 2 more minutes and we'll wrap up. Beautiful. Now you guys are learning how to do these beautiful sentences. Job searches are very scarce. In spite of, Leda, that is cause and effect.
Sorry?
That is cause and effect, not opposite. So there is a high employment rate because there is no job opportunities. So it is cause and effect, not opposite. In spite of the large number of volunteers. Yeah, it's a cause and effect. It's not an opposite.
Yes, you are right. Okay.
In spite of high unemployment rates, students are getting job after they graduate from their experience, or maybe after they graduate from their universities.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yes, please fix that. Yeah. All right. Is there anyone else? In spite of large number of volunteers, the funds for them are decreasing. Yes, good. In spite of the high unemployment rate, students are getting jobs after they graduate from their universities. Yes, beautiful. Good, good. Well done. In spite of the high unemployment rate, yeah. All right, everybody. Do you have any questions about although, even though, despite, and in spite of? Is that clear now?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we are using although or even though, it is followed by subject, verb, object, or a sentence. When we are using despite, it is followed by a noun or a noun phrase. When we are using in spite of, it is followed by adjective plus noun or adjectival phrase. Okay? Okay,
Miss
Jason.
May?
Yes?
Okay, all this, can you share in the module or in email? Because I start today letter and I don't know.
Unfortunately, I don't, but let me see if I can.
Because I don't remember and I can't write nothing down. But okay, I take some
But
photos.
if you go to Moodle,
Okay.
These are there. So you just have to go to module 8 and 9.
Okay.
And then grammar lesson.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's there, all of this, see? Yeah.
Okay.
Although a sentence, yeah. Despite, noun phrase.
Okay, yeah, just that. I'm all right for that. Okay, thank you.
No worries. Okay, let me have a look at some of these last sentences. In spite of the high unemployment rate, getting a job after they graduate from their university. In spite of high unemployment rate, the construction jobs are still required at least 2 years of experience. Yeah. In spite of the large number of volunteer students are hard to getting their student work placement. Okay. In spite of a large number of volunteers, students find it hard to get their work placement. Okay. Jason, what did you learn today?
Today we learned about although, even though, despite of. Yeah, so using
complex
sentence.
Yeah, beautiful. Good. DC, how do you find your class today? Are you okay?
It was really nice, Miss May. It helped me a lot with the grammar. Yeah, it made me to understand more about the verb and noun. Yeah, it
Okay.
was really nice.
Beautiful. Thank you for your participation as well.
Thank you, Miss May.
Good. Richie, how do you feel about the class today?
Today class is good, teacher, and I learned more on this, like my next level of writing. And
Good.
yeah, I never use this word in spite of or despite. Only
Okay.
like even if. That's it. That's what I know.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now try to use it. Okay.
Even though, yeah. Thank
Okay. No worries. Nushad, what about you?
Great class, May, as always. Yeah, today we learned on complex sentences structure using although, even though, despite, in spite. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So now you can write for complex sentences. That means opposite. Right?
Yeah.
Four different kind of sentences. So you don't always have to use although, you can use even though, and then you can use, so when you use your essay or when you're writing, you use variety to show that you know different kinds of structures. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
They might all be complex sentences, but the arrangement of the complex sentences are different from each other. Yeah. Okay, Rosit, what about you? Rosit, are you there? Okay, I'll go back to Rosit. Shalu, how about you?
Very interesting class. Now I have to implement all these varieties into my writing.
Yes. Especially you need IELTS, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
And you need a high score. So you
Yeah.
need to really impress your examiner with different kinds of structure.
Yep, exactly. Thank you. Thank you
No
so much.
worries. Yasmin, what about you?
Yeah, Miss May is very good class because I use although, even though, but I didn't use despite and in spite.
Okay.
So first time I tried to write.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Good.
So it's very good. Yeah.
Good, good. Oyanga.
I feel good. I learn lots of things.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, what about Carol? Are you able to talk, Carol?
Yes, it's good. I know how to use in spite of, despite, and although in different ways.
Yeah, because actually when you go to the dictionary and you check in spite of, they will have exactly the same meaning. They are very synonymous to each other, but there's a slight difference on the way you use it when it comes to grammar.
Yeah, but now I know.
Good on you. Chandra, what about you? You were struggling on the first part.
Yes, Miss May, because a new word and everything was new, but I'm getting it. So getting idea about the structure and all. It's useful. It's really good.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I think you're very patient as well. So it's really your good quality. So you're very open to feedback, and then when I give you feedback, you really incorporate it. So it's really good. Well done.
Thank you, Miss May.
And Leda, what about you?
Yeah, me too. And for me, it was confusing the first time in the first part, but after when I make the sentence and you said me maybe this is wrong, okay, and I understand the difference.
Yeah.
Both despite and in spite.
Yeah. And because it's the first time also for many of you, you have not used it. That's why it's a little bit confusing. And then of course, because you're learning English, you don't know, is this adverb or is this adjective or is this a noun?
Yeah.
But the more you practice it, the more you're going to develop your understanding of the use, and it will become like when you write it, it will become flawless. So I hope that you guys will use this structure when you go to your essay class next Thursday, because this is a really, really good grammatical structure. Okay, so do you guys have any other questions or concerns? All right, then let's call it a night. Let's have a good night, a good rest, and I'll see you all tomorrow for our next class.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye. Good night.
Good night, Miss May. Good night, everyone.
Bye.